For much of its history, the Korean peninsula existed as a unified nation with a distinct culture, language, and identity. However, beginning in the late 19th century, foreign powers began to exert influence over Korea, eventually leading to its division into two nations, North and South Korea. This division, shaped more by the geopolitical ambitions of larger powers than by the will of the Korean people, has left a legacy of conflict, separation, and starkly different paths of development. During Korea's early and medieval periods, it was a unified kingdom. The Silla dynasty first succeeded in unifying most of the Korean peninsula. It was followed by the Goryeo dynasty, which gave Korea its modern name, and then the Joseon dynasty, known for its Confucian culture, scholarly advancement, and stable governance. These eras were characterized by relative independence and flourishing national identity, even while maintaining a tributary relationship with neighboring China. Despite occasional invasions or influence from outside powers, Korea largely remained united and sovereign. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, however, Korea became a focal point for regional power struggles. Both China and Japan sought influence over Korea due to its strategic location. Japan formally annexed Korea in 1910, beginning a brutal colonial period that lasted until the end of World War II in 1945. During Japanese rule, Koreans were subjected to forced labor, suppression of their language and culture, and efforts to erase their national identity in favor of Japanese assimilation. With Japan's defeat in World War II, Korea's long-awaited liberation finally arrived, but not as Koreans had hoped. Instead of allowing the Korean people to determine their future, the victorious Allied powers, the Soviet Union and the United States, divided the peninsula along a line known as the 38th parallel as a temporary measure. This decision was made hastily, with little understanding of Korean society or desire for self-determination. The North fell under Soviet influence and adopted a communist system, while the South came under American influence and developed a capitalist democracy. What was intended as a short-term administrative division soon hardened into a political and ideological divide. In 1950, tensions between the two boiled over and led to a full-blown war known as the Korean War, when North Korea, backed by the Soviet Union and later China, invaded the South. The United States and a coalition of United Nations forces intervened in support of South Korea. The war devastated the peninsula and resulted in millions of deaths, but ended in a stalemate in 1953 with an armistice, not a peace treaty. The Korean War further solidified the division, with both Koreas now fiercely guarding their sovereignty and following separate paths under the continued shadow of foreign influence. In the decades since, North and South Korea have developed into radically different societies. North Korea remains isolated under a rigid authoritarian regime, dominated by the Kim dynasty and heavily influenced by military-first policies and state propaganda. Meanwhile, South Korea is a democracy with global cultural influence and strong ties to the West. Despite shared ethnic and historical roots, the two nations today are starkly different, a direct consequence of foreign-imposed division and the global Cold War rivalry that shaped their destinies. The Korean Peninsula stands as a powerful reminder of how foreign influence can alter the course of a nation's history, sometimes irrevocably. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.